Subsidy is gone, prices are high, but the big question is Nigeria finally winning the fuel battle? The government says yes, citing cheaper prices compared to neighboring countries and a dramatic rise in local refining. But does that tell the full story? Our business correspondent, Larry Babalola, takes a look at the numbers, the promises, and the pressure at the pumps.
In May 2023, fuel subsidy was removed, a decision that ignited protest, set public outcry, and hit Nigerians' pocket hard. Yet, today, nearly 2 years later, petrol in Nigeria remains cheaper than in at least 9 West African countries. That's according to the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, Farouk Ahmed.
Previously, when we see a lot of diversion or smuggling across the border due to pricing differential, the Nigerian Customs, the Office of National Security Advisor, and NDPRA collaboratively set up this team to be going all across the border towns or border areas and use their own intelligence to address this anomaly. And I can tell you, you must have seen, or some of us here must have seen on TV, where the customs have been impounding some of these products by smugglers.
Behind this affordability is a shift, not just in policy, but in production. NMDPRA says petrol imports have plunged from a staggering 44.6 million litres per day in August 2024 to just 14.7 million litres by mid-April 2025. And it's not because Nigerians are using less fuel, it's because Nigeria is finally producing more. Domestic refinery, according to the NMDPRA, are soared by jaw-dropping 670%, rising from 3.4 million litres per day last September to over 26 million litres today.
If we need 50 milliliters per day in this country, and the local refineries combined, both NNPC and Dangote refineries can only provide X amount, obviously you have to go and source for the difference. And that's why we do the importation. And we do it professionally because we look at the supply-demand balance before we do. We don't just give import permits anyhow, but we do it on the basis of performance by those key suppliers in order to guarantee supply.
Energy experts agree this may not be far from the truth, but they caution that transparency and long-term sustainability remains key concerns.
The shift is clearly being driven by the fact that there's far more local refining being done. This is, again, being driven by the fact that for the first time in Nigeria, we have got a regulator for the mid and downstream, which is the authority. It's also great, incidentally, to have so much data on the downstream, because before it was so opaque and you just could not find much about it. So these are the things that are underpinning what is happening right now.
Still, the job isn't done. The government benchmark for daily petrol consumption is 50 million litres. That target has only been surpassed twice in November 2024 and February 2025. Supply has wavered proof that while local refinery is rising, it still lacks consistency. With over 30 million litres shaped up daily imports, Nigeria stands to save billions annually if the trend holds. But affordability is still relative. For Nigerians grappling with inflation and stagnant incomes, cheaper than West Africa doesn't always mean cheap enough. Petrol subsidy may be gone, but a new reality is emerging. For the first time in decades, Nigeria is beginning to rely less on foreign fuel and more on its own refinery. The journey is far from over, but the progress is real. What matters now is that with the impact reaches the average man on the street, not just on paper, but at the pump. Landry Babalola, AIT News, Abuja.
Well, from that report, we'll go straight